The S-1B first stage fuel tank is pressurized, and the second stage liquid oxygen tank pressurizing at this time. Now coming up on the 2-minute mark, T-minus 2 minutes and counting, T-minus 2. Not as much reports now on the communication circuits as everybody stands by monitoring the various consoles and watching the various parameters to ensure everything is okay. T-minus 1 hour, 1 minute, 43 seconds and counting. We are still proceeding.
And just at this moment, a great gust of wind sweeps our press camp here.
90-second mark in our countdown. Mark, T-minus 90 seconds and counting. T-minus 90. We have conditioned the liquid oxygen in the first stage of the Saturn launch vehicle. All tanks in the 2 stages now pressurizing. Most of the work over these final several minutes concerned with the launch vehicle, directed by the test conductor, Don Carlson. 1 minute, 10 seconds and counting. We still are go at this time. Coming up on 1 minute. Mark, T-minus 60 seconds and counting. We are go for Apollo 7 at this time.
This is the first manned test of the Saturn 1B.
Now pressurized, and the vehicle is go, as is the spacecraft at this time.
First American 3-man flight.
T-minus 40 seconds and counting.
First step in our final series of tests to get the American on the moon by the end of 1969.
30 seconds and counting. We'll get ignition of those 8 engines in the first stage at the 3-second mark in the countdown. T-minus 21 seconds and counting. We have completed our power transfer. The Saturn 1B launch vehicle, which now weighs 1.3 million pounds, is ready to go. Coming up on the 10-second mark. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. We have ignition. Commit liftoff. We have liftoff. This is launch control. We have the tower.
Tower clear. 12 seconds out, and the roll program has commenced.
It's just tracking good.
24 seconds out, and Schirra reports the pitch program has commenced.
5,005 degrees.
40 seconds. The roll program is complete.
It's getting a little noisy now.
Seconds. The cabin is relieving. Schirra reported a little noise. 1 minute. Seconds into the flight. All systems go on the ground and in the air. Alert. 1 minute, 40 seconds. Flight director asks the flight dynamics officer if he likes it, and he says yes, sir. Let's go. We're having a status check. Apollo 7 has been given a go for staging. Two minutes, 15 seconds. Inboard engines have shut down. Outboard engines have shut down. Schirra called both events. He's got ignition, and he says we're up to thrust on the second stage. Thrust is okay at 2 minutes, 40 seconds into the flight. beautiful. That tower has really jettisoned. It went way out. We are nearly 50 miles altitude now and about 60 miles downrange. 3 minutes, 5 seconds into the flight. Shura is just tagged up with the Capcom here in Houston. A very clean voice communication today. 3 minutes, 25 seconds into the flight. Trajectory and guidance give another go here. Well, he says a little bumpy on the second stage, a little bumpy, but we can't hear any complaints. 70 miles altitude and about 120 miles downrange. Minutes, 10 seconds into the flight. Shura says the gimbal check looks very good. His observation is the 1G stuff is great. Apparently the G lows were quite low. Raw's heart rate, because that's the only physical parameter we have coming through, and it at launch and through the early stages ran about 90 to 92 beats. 4 minutes, 50 seconds into the flight. The flight director is polling all his stations here and is getting enthusiastic goes at every console. 5 minutes into the flight. And we've heard from Don Isley, reported the spacecraft guidance go. 90 miles altitude now. Nearly 250 miles downrange at 5 minutes and 25 seconds into the flight. The guidance tracks are exactly overlays here in the control center. That is the plan versus the actual. Wally says she's riding like a dream at 5 minutes, 58 seconds into the flight. Mark 6 minutes. Mark 6 minutes, 30 seconds, where the trajectory now is beginning to level out at nearly 110 miles altitude, and we are coming up nearly 400 miles out over the Atlantic Ocean. Capcom Jack Schweigert here in Houston reassures the crew that you're right on the old button, and the communications are so clear it sounds like the crew is working from the simulator. 7 minutes, 3 seconds into the flight. We just had our first report from Walt Cunningham in the right seat, reporting on the antennas. His communication was not quite as clean as that from Isley and Shura, but quite readable. 7 minutes, 30 seconds into the flight. Seven minutes, 45 seconds into the flight. mark, 8 minutes into the flight. And the crew reports the guidance, Don Isley reported the guidance is go at 8 minutes. We're 8 minutes, 15 seconds. We're predicting a cutoff time at 10 minutes plus 16 seconds, plus 16 seconds, I believe. Eight minutes, 40 seconds, and now the trajectory has flattened out at about 125 nautical miles. And we're 800 miles downrange. The communication in the last minute has gotten somewhat gravelly, not nearly as clean as it was in the early part. And Schirra at 9 minutes reports we're go for orbit. Control center here is considering shifting the comm loop to the Vanguard ship, which is parked out south of Bermuda, somewhere mid-Atlantic. Emphasize the communications are still quite good. They were just extraordinary through the first 6 minutes of the flight. At 9 minutes, 30 seconds into the flight, all systems are in excellent shape. And 20 seconds, 10 minutes, 20 seconds into the flight. We're now coming up on my mark, 10 minutes into the flight, mark 10 minutes. 10 minutes, 10 seconds. And we got a cutoff, it sounded to me like at about 10 minutes, 19 seconds. Schirra confirmed it. And Isley noted that it felt a little different than when they were on the booster, when that cutoff came through. They will remain attached to the S-4B, that second stage, and they're beginning a go to stay in the planned configuration attached to the second stage for perhaps nearly 3 hours.